Thanks for the introduction. Yeah, I'm Brian Anderson, the Senior Director of Research at the Greater Akron Chamber, located here in the Northeast Ohio region. So within our region, I'm located in the city of Akron, right, called the rubber capital of the world at times. And so we have evolved our economy from tire focus to a more broader polymer industry over the course of many decades. The result is, we're operating a polymer industry cluster today that's a large driver of our economy. It's a supplier of products and technologies globally, and it's one that we believe we're keen on activating sort of latent innovations that have really large commercial and environmental potentials, and can catalyze large growth, not only for our region's economy, but also for individual companies that operate here. So one role that I play at the Greater Akron Chamber is facilitating a regular meeting of leaders from across the polymer industry cluster. So we have large and small companies from both elastomer, plastic, chemical companies. We have support organizations and economic development partners, education and training providers, researchers. So it's sort of a broad representation of our polymer operations. And we collectively sort of identify shared industry challenges and big global opportunities and try to align our resources and efforts to, obviously, while companies are competing independently, we're sort of tackling industry-wide problems together. So just sort of following up on a lot of the great information that Paul shared, in our region, we have more than 500 core polymer companies alone, right? Rubber and plastic manufacturers, resin compounding, and so on. And beyond these 500 plus companies, we have a robust network of supply chain companies and education and research institutions and different kinds of support organizations that provide the workforce, the talents, the advocacy, capital, and other kinds of support that our polymer companies need to operate and thrive in our region. The high density that we have of polymer companies and resources, combined with our region's priority focus on polymers and advanced materials and manufacturing, that produces really valuable synergies and spillover benefits that we see amplifying the results that our region's individual organizations are able to achieve. It's our belief that our large and sort of multi-dimensional polymer industry cluster has the potential to achieve an even higher level of innovation and production than what we have today even. And so our economic development partners have recently undertaken an intentional polymer industry cluster initiative to develop a strategy to develop an industry-driven sort of path forward to unlock that additional potential. And so as I explained, we're convening this diverse group of leaders to develop that cohesive vision and plan forward. So our polymer industry is robust with a strong foundation in materials science that we see having a broad applicability across many large and high growth sectors. So more than just tires for automobiles, which was sort of the dominant focus in the past, our polymer industry today supports healthcare and aerospace and advanced manufacturing and more. As you think about the sheer volume of industrial and consumer products that use plastics and other polymer materials today, the opportunity for this sort of high impact innovation is really massive. So developing more durable, stronger, and like lighter weight material has really exciting implications in automobiles and airplanes and 3D printing. Then the truly developing sustainable materials, whether it's bio-derived or recyclable plastics, right? That's what can really change the world. It can enable our global industry to supply the products and inputs that their customers demand while enabling corporations and even sovereignties to meet their increasingly aggressive sustainability goals. So, as I'm not sure if we have a representative from the University of Akron on the line, but they're a lot of their faculty researchers are sort of focused in that space. Some of the opportunities, right, as we look to increase our region's support of the polymer industry cluster, from everything from increasing funding for new materials research to strengthening infrastructure available to our innovators and producers, and other various means of accelerating that innovation. There's common opportunities that we see that our industry leaders are focused on. Sustainability is the biggest one. Our both large and small companies are laser focused on achieving sustainability goals. And by accelerating this sort of cutting edge polymer research that is underway today at institutions like the University of Akron, and by enhancing the supply chain to tackle sort of end of product life cycle, and return to sort of create this permanent loop for product and materials. So our historical tire companies are now, they're not tire companies anymore, as they'll tell you. They're mobility solutions providers, right? They're investing heavily in autonomous and electric vehicles with, again, really important applications for new, stronger, and lightweight materials. And the need for, on the healthcare side, one important application that we're focused on is meeting the new need for effective and efficient PPE that's obviously increased significantly in demand over the last 2 years. So we're intent on leveraging our sustainable polymer industry assets to tackle these big global problems. And again, it's the high density of polymer companies and that robust support network. And I guess also paired with the focus from our economic development and policymakers on supporting that industry and those efforts that we believe will enable us to sort of achieve that next level of innovation and production. So, during our work in this, which sort of ramped up towards at the beginning of this year, we have had consistent and sort of genuine industry engagement. A lot of the work that we're doing is truly industry driven. We've been able to develop a sort of actionable path forward and focus on a few milestones ahead of us to help develop the cluster. We do have world-class education institutions here, but we've identified specific areas where there's room to grow to further strengthen that infrastructure, so that we have this sort of continuous feedback loop between higher education, private sector employers, and other community organizations. And that's how we envision establishing this ongoing, this continuous feedback loop, so that we're providing the talent that our employers, our current and future employers, need to operate. Now, from the physical infrastructure standpoint, we've identified some types of specialized R&D and production facilities that will help to accelerate the innovation that our researchers are producing in the lab, right? You might produce new material on the scale of a few grams in the laboratory, but our industry partners need new material produced at a much larger scale in order to sort of bridge that gap and go through all proof of concept needed. And so, again, in the interest of accelerating the innovation that's happening in our region, we're looking at ways to improve the infrastructure and support that growth. And then, there's entrepreneurship support and capital that can be enhanced to, again, support entrepreneurs and innovation that happens in the region, pretty much bringing innovations from the laboratory into the private sector to gain market traction and industry adoption ultimately. So I can sort of stop there, Cedric, and see if there are any kinds of questions or comments. I know we've